Hang on a second. Let me, you want to meet with me one-on-one in the Oval? Guys, wow. I'm going to go ahead and head off to the Oval right now. I'll bring this to you as we can.
All right. Oh, there he goes, off into the Oval Office, live television. Nothing quite like it.
Well, here he is. It looks like Brian is coming back.
He's coming back.
You're back. What happened?
Thank you. Well, actually, he called me over there. Kid Rock was still in the Oval, and he wanted to do a quick performance. So I just went in there, and he played a song and sat down and told him that his attire was fitting for being, because, Kid Rock was being criticized for not having a suit on in the Oval Office, but had that rather his rock star attire. So he just wanted me to get his thoughts real quick, and so I just ran over there and came back. And, of course, April Fools, everybody. April Fools. What a great you guys.
Oh, my God.
If you just saw the headline from the insane failing Atlantic magazine this morning, you would think this individual was Father of the Year, living in Maryland, living a peaceful life, when that couldn't be further from the truth. They didn't even mention in the title of that article, or even in the first paragraph, that this individual is an illegal criminal who broke our nation's immigration laws. He is a leader in the brutal MS-13 gang, and he is involved in human trafficking, and now MS-13 is a designated foreign terrorist organization. Foreign terrorists have no legal protections in the United States of America, and this administration is going to continue to deport foreign terrorists and illegal criminals from our nation's interior.
But a judge ordered that he should remain in this country. So are you saying that it is okay to ignore a judge's ruling if you don't like it?
Who does that judge work for?
He's an immigration.
It was an immigration judge who works for the Department of Justice at the direction of the Attorney General of the United States, whose name is Pam Bondi, who has committed to eradicating MS-13 from our nation's interior. MS-13, may I remind each and every one of you, is a brutal and vicious gang. They raped and strangled a 20-year-old autistic woman to death in Maryland. They hacked 4 people to death with machetes in a park on Long Island. They have kidnapped, sexually tortured, and shot a teenage girl in Texas after she insulted them, allegedly. Killed and mutilated a 17-year-old girl in Virginia, stabbing him 16 times and cutting off his hands. They beheaded and cut out the heart of a man in Washington, D.C. They raped and murdered a 13-year-old girl in California. They sex trafficked a slew of young girls, including one who was just 12 years old, raped an 11-year-old girl in Brooklyn while her brother was in the room, sex trafficked a 13-year-old in Maryland and Virginia, miles away from this White House, even beating her 26 times on her backside with a baseball bat, pressured homeless New Yorkers to undergo unnecessary surgeries such as spinal fusion in order to bolster their fraudulent lawsuits. These are vicious criminals. This is a vicious gang, and I wish that the media would spend just a second of the same time you have spent trying to litigate each and every individual of this gang who has been deported from our country as the innocent Americans whose lives have been lost at the hands of these brutal criminals. We maintain our position, and very strongly so. I can tell you what the Social Security Administration has said themselves, according to an Inspector General's report that was conducted last year, showing there was nearly $80 billion worth of fraud in this program. But we know for a fact there are individuals who should not be receiving benefits on the Social Security rolls, and this administration is focused on cleaning out the waste, fraud, and abuse in every agency, but particularly in Social Security, to make it stronger for our tax-paying, law-abiding citizens who deserve these entitlements and programs. At the Environmental Protection Agency, and Administrator Lee Zeldin is just doing a tremendous job. Just yesterday and today it will be going into effect. He announced that taxpayers will be saved $8 million in annual lease costs by moving staff out of the 323,000 square feet of space that the EPA currently occupies, which is completely unnecessary. Yesterday, Administrator Zeldin also announced he will be shutting down a museum that the Biden administration built to tell a selective story about the EPA's history and climate change. It was a real pat on the back to President Biden. And guess how much American taxpayers paid for it? $4 million for this museum that I think only 1,000 visitors saw last year alone. And it would cost American taxpayers $600,000 per year to operate this museum. Well, it's not going to exist anymore. We're going to save taxpayers those critical funds. And Administrator Zeldin is very proud to announce that. And just at EPA alone and the cuts that they have made, they've saved taxpayers more than $22 billion in wasteful grants and spending. The president said in his remarks when he signed the executive order to dismantle the Department of Education that he loves our teachers. And in part, this order is to empower our teachers to have greater decision making in the classroom. Nobody knows our nation's children and our students better than our teachers who are with them every single day.
School education choice, vouchers, and diminishing the role of teachers.
The president is very supportive of both of those things, particularly when it comes to school choice. He has said that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time, and he wants every child, regardless of zip code, socioeconomic status, how much money their parents have, to be able to go to the school of their choosing that best suits their educational needs.
Yeah, no, it's great to be with you, Dave. We're actually a little off the border in Sinaloa, in cartel country of El Chapo's hometown, and now that you've got the warring factions between the Chapitos and the El Mayo crew and all these guys, and it's just death and destruction everywhere. There was a kidnapping that took place on the road we were driving on. We drove past it just minutes later, and there was no response. There was no police response. There was nobody there. The governor of Sinaloa is actually hiding in that building because he's afraid of the cartels. He's living in the governor's mansion, the palace behind us.
People are being weaponized against Elon Musk, but they're not necessarily tying that to, I don't want to see government programs cut. And we'll see where it goes. People can have an unfavorable opinion of Elon Musk and still think, well, fraud is bad. Waste is stupid. Yeah. And yes, I want my government audited.
Jill Biden, who stood by while he actively tried to rewrite Title IX, taking away opportunities from women, and also stood complicit while he was in mental decline and hiding that as well. Truly horrible, not only as a first lady, but as a wife.
Mrs. Trump speaking at the International Women of Courage Awards today versus 1 year ago when Jill Biden did the same thing. At that time, men were considered women, or at least encouraged to be. I mean, how could Jill Biden speak at an awards ceremony for women if she didn't value what a woman really is?
They don't even know what a woman is. They can't even define the word woman. They actively try to take away opportunities from women, ignoring over 99% of the population to cater to the less than 1%.
Joining me now to discuss this and his new show coming to RAV is the host of Last Call with Mike Crispy, which airs this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Mike Crispy. Mike, thanks so much for being with me.
Hey, thanks for having me. There was a shadow government behind Joe Biden of unelected bureaucrats who were intent on basically ripping our country apart at the seams. And if you had a figurehead like Joe Biden who looked like a white moderate face, you could do so much reckless, far left radical damage. And that is what they wanted to keep up the charade in the public for as long as possible. Joe Biden, I believe, didn't know 80% of the things that he was signing or doing.
You set a car on fire, you try to torch a Tesla dealership. That's terrorism. You're trying to move politics, make a political point, and move people in your direction by using fear and intimidation. That's the definition of terrorism.
Elon Musk, after Trump was almost assassinated, Elon Musk jumped on board, started helping Trump, win an election. That's when they went exactly what you're saying. Bad crap crazy, reversing. The hypocrisy is so rich here, reversing everything they loved about him and Tesla's into like we hate him now.
This world where we pick sides based on who the first one is to say it. You know what I mean? Did Donald Trump say it or did Joe Biden say it? Well, because I got to know, because that way I know which side I'm on. President Trump and I have had a probably 30-minute phone call at one point, just the two of us talking about tariffs. He got to the end of it. He's like, Glenn, you make some good points, but, I'm just going to do it anyway. I just love tariffs. I don't like tariffs at all. However, if you are looking at the reciprocal tariffs where you're saying, okay, you charge me this for milk, then I'm going to charge you that for milk. I think we should give him a chance because what he's trying to do is bring manufacturing back here to the United States to rebuild our industrial base. And that has to happen if we're not going to be part of a global community. I just was talking to an economist in Germany just a few minutes ago, and he was saying to me, Glenn, I don't think people in America really understand. Germany's being dismantled from the inside out. We were as well. Donald Trump is trying to put us back together.